Hi, I'm Blake Fisher. Thanks for joining me on The Homeless Conservative. This is my show where I have conversations about conservatism with curious and politically exhausted citizens, kind of like myself. I appreciate that you're listening. Quick little introduction. I've been wanting to do a political podcast for a long time, but I never could quite figure out exactly what the format should be. But I'm basically a political junkie, and I have these kind of conversations in my living room with friends and over tacos and stuff, and figured let's just take that into a recording situation and present it to people that want to listen. The shortest version of where I'm at on the political spectrum is this. I am a lifelong conservative who can't imagine a worst case scenario than Trump and Biden rematching in 2024. So if that sounds like you, I think you'll enjoy this. On this episode, I'm talking to my neighbor, Mackenzie. She had flagged me down the other day, the day of Ron DeSantis' Twitter announcement. It was right before it happened. So I asked her to come record a conversation about it. And then, of course, the announcement didn't go exactly according to plan on Twitter. We talk about that and her opinions of all of Daddy DeSantis' details. That's her words, not mine. Plus, we talk about how we can't figure out why Trump's stickiest part of his base is sticking with him despite not being a binary choice situation in the current Republican primary field. So here's my conversation with Mackenzie. Hi, Mackenzie.
Hi, Blake.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
Okay, so this started because you waved me down the other day in the neighborhood. We're neighbors. And the day that Ron DeSantis was announcing, it was announced that he was announcing.
Oh, yeah, that's when I was still in a high.
Right. You flagged me down, and you were like, are you excited about tonight? And I was like, I didn't know exactly what you're talking about yet. But, so I was like, yeah, cool. But we had a disagreement about whether it was a good idea or not, specifically for him to do it on Twitter. You thought it was a good idea, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I was wrong.
Well, I don't think you were like totally wrong.
No, I wasn't totally wrong. Here's the thing. I thought it was going to be on video.
I thought so too.
Like, why would it not?
Yeah, like why would you not put it on video?
Great question.
So
that was a mistake.
Yeah, so so going into it, I was like, oh, I don't know. Basically, the short conversation we had on the street was, I don't know if doing it on Twitter is a good announcement for the general voting public, because Twitter is such a small little percentage of not just voters, but you have to be a political junkie addict basically to be getting your politics from Twitter, which I used to. I don't as much anymore because it's kind of,
I do.
I know it's a little bit of a dumpster fire sometimes, but that's fine. Obviously those are passionate people, but most people go with the kind of hey, let's have a hometown crowd with a couple thousand people. And, when you're someone like Ron DeSantis, my concern was, first of all, I did think it was going to be video. I thought it would be video in front of people, maybe even. But then it turns into just audio with Elon Musk.
Horrible audio.
And softball questions from other people. So I don't blame him at all. So basically, we had that little short conversation where I was like, I don't know, it seems a little too online. It kind of, to me, signaled that I've kind of felt like even before he announced, sometimes I feel like the people around him are maybe a little too online and responding to things that most people have not even heard of that have happened. So it's kind of you could just skip that and most people would know. So that was my concern going in. I didn't even think about that it would crash Twitter.
Yeah, that was the other big mistake.
Not his fault, though.
No, not his fault.
But not a good off-the-gun starting blocks kind of thing, right?
No. And I do think it's not a big deal. I do think...
No. It's not going to sink anything.
No, but man, what a horrible way to launch your campaign. And I think when he started and said, I'm going to go with Elon to Twitter, it was kind of a screw you to, Fox and CNN, I'm not going to have a town hall where all these media is going to cover it. I'm going to go to Twitter where it's completely free speech and a free platform. And I think that's their thought process.
But I hadn't, so as I left, I was like, you know what, she's probably right. That's a good, excited demographic to go after. Like I said, I didn't think anything about technical problems. But then to find out it wasn't video was why would you... Who has done that since ever? No one's,
Yeah, that was shocking to me.
That's insane to me because
I agree.
We live in a visual, this would just be an audio podcast, except that YouTube has more, people listen to podcasts more on YouTube than they do on podcast platforms. So I was like, okay, let's do video too. It's just not that much harder. But to announce you're running for president without video or a crowd, I think the crowd helps warm people up. You've got like the only people that are going to show up to a presidential announcement like that, or an announcement of a campaign, are people who love that person. It's like you got a bunch of homers for sure. So it's not going to be, you're not going to have a tough crowd. They're going to laugh at everything you say. They're going to cheer for everything you say. So it just seems like it would have been, in hindsight, not that I'm a political like operative at all, but it does seem like you would want to control that as much as you can. And they couldn't control. They did kind of control for like the questions and stuff. Obviously, they asked people to ask those questions. I mean, maybe not. I'm sure they had a heads up of what they wanted to talk about and stuff, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that. It's not like I would not open it up to Twitter, you know, generally. Yeah. But man, it just felt like, okay, you know, people couldn't find it who are on Twitter, and
it was hard for me to find it.
And so,
and when I started listening, I got bored.
Yeah.
Because again, I couldn't see it, and it was just the audio was really bad. No, it was bad. I sank into a deep depression.
Well, I don't think there's.
I was depressed.
That's fine. I don't think it's gonna like. I do not think it will negatively impact him beyond the news cycle. I don't think 48 hours afterwards.
But I think that his poll should have given him a bump, like when most candidates launch, and it didn't give him the bump that he did raise $8 million.
Right, which is not nothing. That's pretty good.
More than like Trump raised when he first. So,
but I think you know who ends up like looking better last week. Not that I'm saying he's gonna like climb in the polls and take over the thing, but like Tim Scott has the normal announcement a few days before, or maybe the day before. It was the day or two before.
A few days before.
Anyway, and like, you know, obviously he does the normal thing that people do in front of a crowd that's friendly, blah blah blah, and you know, I get the like kind of screw you to the media, but I think it's foolish to do that when you're running for president. You need the media to. I mean, Donald Trump specifically benefited from just gigantic amounts of free media in 2016, you know?
Yeah, no, it concerned me not because I don't think he can recover, but it concerned me because I was like, who is advising him to do this?
Right. That's what I think.
That's what scares me. Yeah. Like, who are you listening to you thought that an audio only announcement on Twitter was the way to go? That scares me because I thought like, surely he has so much money, so many donors behind him. Like, surely he's surrounding himself with great people.
He's the person that people have been talking about for 2 years.
He was born to be president.
Yeah. I mean, well, we can talk more about... I can tell you obviously like him. Is he your guy?
Oh, he's my guy.
Like, he's your guy. Okay.
I'm ready to leave my family to campaign for him.
Okay. I'm sure your husband will love being at home with two...
He knows.
...boys under 3. I think that...
I mean, why? My question is, why would he not be the person for every Republican? Why?
Well, I mean, I can see why. I think people's concern going into his announcement was like maybe he's not going to pull it off because he had some missteps before then too. He's just had some things where he's had some interviews or like seemed like he was not willing to. I mean, what doesn't make any sense about any of the people running right now, except for him now, post that announcement, is like none of them are attacking Trump. It doesn't make any sense to me because he's the front runner.
Yeah.
And you have to win, you have to beat the front runner. Like, that's just part of it. And I think it's kind of weird that he's the only one so far that's really willing to go out there now. I mean, but he really wasn't before that announcement. He was kind of doing it, but
he would defend himself. But yeah, no,
he would defend himself, but he wasn't going on offense.
No, but now he
is
really going on offense.
I think the recovery post the announcement has made sense. I think that he's doing some of that stuff. You have to look. Doesn't matter what you think about Trump. If you are running for the Republican nominee for president, you have to attack the guy that's at the top of the ticket. Doesn't matter whether you like him or not. Doesn't like, I realize Trump's super divisive and all this stuff, but if you're running for president, what else are you running for?
Yeah, I think that's where Vivek, I think he's a very smart, good guy. He defends Trump. I mean, it's like, that's your competition. Yeah, I agree. You've got to hit back at Trump.
I think a lot of people are just running for name recognition than to sell books and be on TV. And stuff.
I just heard that Pence is about to. Yeah, why would Pence run? Chris Christie. Why would Chris Christie run?
I think Chris Christie's just running just to attack Trump. I think he knows he can't win, but he's willing to go in there and be the guy that does that.
I'll take it.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I like Chris Christie.
I do too, but I don't think he has a shot.
Neither do Pence.
I don't think Pence has a shot. I think that well, I mean, I think DeSantis is the obvious one, but I made a prediction a while back
You did.
that I don't know if this will be true. I don't think either Trump or DeSantis will be the nominee. For some reason, I just think that if they're attacking each other all the time, it lets someone else come in and talk about policy or themselves or whatever, and let them just attack each other constantly. So I don't know if that'll work. I mean, I've been wrong on almost every political prediction I've made for years. So I don't think it'll be right. There's just something.
I hope you're wrong.
I'm fine with being wrong. Well, I'm fine with half of being wrong. But yeah. I mean, I don't want Trump to be the nominee. I think that he will lose no matter what. I don't think he can. Yeah.
That's what I don't understand when it's about DeSantis for Trump. It's like, put anything aside, who can beat Biden? DeSantis.
Yeah.
Like, so choose DeSantis. I don't understand people's thinking other than that.
Yeah. Polls right now are not going to be accurate because most people don't know who these people are. The next episode that'll come out is with Elise, and I just went through the people, showed him a picture. Like, she doesn't know who any of these people are.
Name recognition.
No name recognition.
Yeah.
So you have to have name ID, and you know, if you rattled off a few things about some of these candidates, she'd be like, oh, that interests me. I'll pay attention to that now. But no one's going to know any of their names until August.
Right. And when they do these polls, they rattle off like 20 names. Right. And then they list Donald Trump. And so people are like, oh, well, Donald Trump. And that is why he's leading so much.
He's got name recognition. Yeah. And I mean, I do think there's also a cult of personality thing going on. But to me, you look at like DeSantis wins by 19 points for re-election in Florida.
Oh, he turned Florida from purple to red.
That is a huge, and it was going in that direction anyway, but that's a big victory. So to me, all he has to go is like, look, I won at the same time that Trump, like, he didn't lose Florida, but like by a gigantic margin, like more people voted for DeSantis. So that's not nothing. Like, that's important. I realize it's not the same election year, but I mean, it's important to. Yeah,
I think it shows that he can turn undecided. He can moderates. Yeah. Far right. He's a winner.
Now I don't know that. Like I said, he's had some missteps. I am a little bit worried about the people he has around him that thought the Twitter thing was a great idea. And I worry about people being too online because I just don't think most people are. Like, my whole point of this thing is to have regular conversations with regular people. You're probably the most politically, like, online person of the people I've done this with so far. And, you know, I don't think you have to be a political junkie to be involved enough to know, you know, this kind of stuff. It's like most people will start paying attention during the debates and into the fall. Although I think now we've just got a lot of people running that I worry that the same thing will happen in 2016 where people split the vote.
That's one thing I am worried about. Because it's like all these normal candidates, you know, Scott, Haley, likable conservatives. And then there's Trump. But I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to Iowa. DeSantis could win Iowa. Like, if there's
I mean, Trump didn't win Iowa last time, so it's not very likely that. I mean, he could, but. So
let's say like it's starting to look like DeSantis and Trump. Hopefully, the others will bow out and get behind DeSantis.
I think if you're polling in single digits by Thanksgiving-ish, you got to be out of here. Like, you cannot. Last time people stayed in for way too long. I mean, like Rubio was like, well, I've got to get to Florida so that I can. It was just ridiculous because that's what happened in 2016. You know, Trump wins the nomination with like 30 to 40% of the vote in most states. Like, you're talking about a tiny percentage of people, especially because most people don't vote in primary elections. Yep. So, yeah, you've got to, if it's clearly a head-to-head between the two of them, I think it's foolish for other people not to get out while they can. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm like, do they know something I don't? But there's more people attacking DeSantis right now than Trump.
Well, especially like the left wing, because they know.
Even the right wing, like Nikki Haley is attacking DeSantis more than Trump.
That was foolish.
I think she's like.
A lot of people like, and
I like her a lot, but I don't think she's making good decisions.
Well, from what I've heard, inside information is that the campaign behind, like, people behind her and the campaign behind her are smart. Like, good. She has a really great team, and that like they're like mobilized. I mean, she's like, people like it. Every time when I ask people,
I think she's a really good governor.
They like, oh, love Tim Scott and love Haley,
and I think both of them have.
They make great beeps.
Well, yeah, but why you don't? when people are like, is this person just running for VP? Like, who would do that? Who wants that job, first of all?
Kamala.
Yeah, but like, I don't think she ran for it. She wanted to be president. I mean,
I
she
know.
took the job. People take it when offered, but no one's running for president because they're like,
no.
oh, I'm just going to try to get a VP spot. And I don't think that, like, Haley doesn't have a chance to get it because, like, Trump's not going to, like, if Trump was the nominee, I don't think he's going to give it to Haley. And I don't think DeSantis would either.
No, but I think DeSantis Scott 2024 ticket, that's a winning ticket.
Yeah, do you think it's too many southern states? I mean, they're right, South Carolina, and that was my only thought is that do you pick someone like Chris Christie instead? In that situation? I don't know.
But I don't even think people from his state like Chris Christie.
I don't know. He, like, I mean, to be a blue state like that, he got reelected
with
a good amount of the vote.
I don't know about now, though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Trump people aren't going to like him, but, like, at some point, there's a percentage of Trump people that you just have to write off because they actually want the chaos and they actually don't want to win. They just want to, like...
Oh, and I don't think they'll vote. That's my thing, too, with Trump. It's like, well, if you said that the election was stolen and that, then what would you vote for him again if it was stolen and, rigged?
The stolen stuff doesn't make any sense to me because Trump single-handedly lost Republicans the Senate in 2020.
Oh, I know.
Like, you would have the House and the Senate if he doesn't tell people to not vote in the Georgia runoff.
I know. Oh, Blake, I was on the Trump train.
Well, and I think...
Happily.
I have no problem with people that voted for Trump in 2016 or 2020. Now, I don't like him. I've never liked him. I don't think he does anything well other than stuff he outsources to other people. Yeah. The stuff that he doesn't care about and hires someone to do a good job, because he did actually have some talented people around him.
Yeah, he did.
That were kind of like, hey, I'll go in there and be the adult. Nikki Haley was one of them. And I think she did a good job at the UN, as much as I don't love UN stuff. But, but a lot of other people are just, but basically anything that he wanted to touch was the stuff that was like radioactive, because, his staff would go out there and say one thing, he'd contradict it like hours later. And then they're trying to clean up that mess from like the contradictions and stuff. And to me, he wasn't very good at being the president, in my opinion. But I don't begrudge people that liked him. I get why people like him.
Yeah. Oh, I used to defend him.
No, I mean, I will defend him when he like requires defending. Like, right. I think that the whole Russia investigation was clearly a farce. It definitely hampered his first 2 years as president, without a doubt. Like, and it was all based on lies, and it was all political. It was all ridiculous. And I know that, like, yes, we had some people that were indicted, but like his team, I mean, he had shady people around him, and Trump does shady stuff all the time. So do a lot of other politicians. It's like pretty common. I'm not saying it's excusable because of that. I don't like when people are like, well, they're doing it, so we should do it too. But I defend him when he does things I like. I'm like, great. When he does stuff I don't like, which I think that's just how I feel about all politicians. I'm going to call it like I see it. Like, I don't want to be, I think it's weird, and I'm sorry if you were one of these people. I think it's weird when people have a flag or a t-shirt or something for a politician. It's a little creepy to me, because I'm like, they work for us. Like,
I do have a t-shirt with Tucker Carlson.
That's okay. He's not the president of the United States. He's a media figure, and that's totally fine. But like when people had Obama shirts or Obama flags or Trump flags, like, I think that's weird. I'm like, to me, you're kind of idolizing.
I do want a DeSantis bumper sticker.
Bumper stickers are fine.
Okay.
Bumper stickers are fine. That's yard signs, fine. Okay. Bumper stickers, fine. It's the flag specifically
that I have a problem with. Okay.
Not a flag. I just kind of feel like, let's just stick with the American flag. Let's get rid of these politician flags. I don't like them.
I can agree.
It was especially funny that, like, at the January 6th stuff, there were people, like, beating police officers with, like, thin blue line flags.
Yeah.
The irony.
That's where I fell off the Trump train.
I think a lot of people did.
When, like, losing J6, election denial, the Senate, that's when I was like,
all of it.
I'm getting off the train, and I'm getting on the DeSantis train.
And then 2022 continues to pick a bunch of people that lose. Really, the only person that wins that he picks
that's the thing.
is
He's
JD
a
Vance.
Loser now.
He's a loser. He loses at everything. And everyone's always like, he's a winner. He fights. I'm like, he fights and loses. So do you care more about, do you want Biden to continue to be in power? Do you want Democrats to control the House, the Senate, the presidency, any of that stuff? I mean, honestly, we could have a whole conversation about Biden just being, I think, too old and not able to do his job, even if you like him as a politician. I think it's dangerous what we're doing.
Dangerous.
And I say the same about Trump. I mean, like, I think people in their 80s, for the most part, more often than not, are going to be a step behind where they were a decade before that. Plus, add the stress of that job. Like, I look at how I did a video like this, a short, but it was like, look at the age difference. Look at people like when they go in office and when they leave office in that 8 years.
Oh, yeah.
They look
the wrinkles,
so
the gray hair.
much older.
Yeah.
And most of these guys were half of, like, Bill Clinton was like 30 years younger than Biden is. And he aged a lot in those 8 years. And Obama and Bush. And, like, just look at all of them. They age a lot. And even Trump's looking older. Like, I feel haggard. Like much more than he did even a couple years ago. And it's not that I think that immediately if someone's 80, they don't have their faculties. I think, like, I don't agree with Bernie Sanders at all. I think he clearly has his faculties, though. Like, he's clearly all there. He can put together sentences better than either one of Trump or Biden. But, you know, it's kind of dangerous. And I think that, you know, that has to be a consideration for a lot of people going into the general election.
I would hope so. That's why, like, a Biden versus DeSantis, like, you just look at them, like, can you imagine them debating? I mean, he'd wipe the floor. Like, it would be such a contrast.
Yeah, it would be. Now, I do think, I think DeSantis, let's talk about some weaknesses of DeSantis that I think he's got to work on. There are none. Oh, I think there are. Okay. I mean, he's clearly not a, like, warm politician, and that's fine with me.
Blake,
doesn't bother
why
me.
do you say that? First off, he's a gorgeous man with a gorgeous wife and gorgeous children.
That's all fine. He's
Harvard, Yale educated. Was in the Navy.
I agree.
Served in Iraq.
These are all things I care more about than the warmness factor.
Okay.
Unfortunately, voters do care about likability. I don't think it is a good thing to vote for someone on. I'd rather have someone that does a good job and be a total crank. Like, it doesn't bother me.
He seems warm.
I think he's putting on a convincing act, but I think everything sounds like a stump speech, which is fine.
But don't you think you could sit down and have a beer with him?
No, I don't.
Really?
Actually. He doesn't seem like, okay, for example, there's a bunch of senators and congresspeople, not a bunch of senators, bunch of congresspeople in Florida that have already endorsed Trump. And some of the reasons why is they're like, he's never called me. Like, I had a surgery. Like, one guy, like, fell off a roof, broke his neck, was in the hospital. Like, Trump called him, but DeSantis didn't call him. You know, there's some stuff like that.
He's busy fixing Florida.
I know, but there's some of that
and a wife that had cancer.
You have to do it though. You know, like, there's some of that stuff you have to, like, do the glad handing and, like, holding babies and stuff. And I think I'd rather have someone that just goes in there and gets the job done. Yeah. I'd rather have...
I think he governs better than he...
Yes.
You know, maybe schmoozes and campaigns.
Right. But that matters in a presidential campaign.
No, I agree.
I'm not saying it matters for the job. I would rather have someone that just goes in there and does their job. Honestly, I'd love to have just a boring president. Just someone that just I don't, you know, that's not my job. I'm going to do my job. I'm not going to do the stuff that's not my job. I'd love to have that. But it's unfortunately a part of presidential politics.
Well, I mean, but he did become Florida governor twice.
No, yeah.
And, like, he has to have some sort of a warm personality where people wanted to vote for him. I mean, do you remember the first against Andrew Gillum? That was so close.
Yeah, but I think what concerns me in a presidential primary is that he, I think, feels a little rehearsed. Yeah, and my theory about 2016 that I continue to say, even though I don't have any data that proves this, but, you know, there were people that, like, in open state primaries that were going, I don't know who I'm going to vote for, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. Well, there's not a lot of policy daylight there's a lot of daylight between them. You know, that Venn diagram barely overlaps on, like, some trade stuff, probably. Right. That's it. I think what they were attracted to is that both of them are, like, genuine. Like, they don't seem like politicians, whereas, like, Hillary Clinton might change her accent a little bit when she's in the South, or, like, talk a different way here, or pretend to be folksy and stuff. And I think people see right through that crap. I think that, and people don't trust it inherently, because they go, like, I feel like this is a dog and pony show. I feel like you're kind of not being truthful with me. Whereas even when Trump said stuff people didn't like, they were like, he genuinely believes that, I think. And so they let it slide. And Bernie Sanders, it's like, they're kind of both old cranky guys that, like, I think you get exactly what I think that if you were in a like on staff for Ron DeSantis, I bet it's a different version of him. I'm not saying it's a bad version of him or a worse version or anything like that. I'm just saying I think he seems to be a different version when he's on the trail. And there's a bit of that I think people are just tired of with politicians. I think that's why they like Trump. I think that's why Obama did so well, is because he was really good at turning that on. Like, he was charming and he was a good speaker. And I think that he was warmer actually in that situation than he was in real life, probably, I think, and that worked because he was better than anyone. I mean, really, as of the last 20 years, I would say, at that stuff.
Yeah, I could agree. I think we'll see.
So that's what concerns me.
I think in Iowa, so right now, I think he's doing campaign stops, and he's going to go to every county.
Yeah.
Meet with people. I think that will help.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see. And I would love for him to do a Trump-like big rally.
I think he could do it. I wanted to, when I went to Florida last fall, I wanted to, like, the first person I saw with, like, a Trump or DeSantis thing, just to be like, because that was, like, during the re-election. Like, we were there the month before the re-election. And so, you saw a lot of DeSantis stuff. And I just wanted to be like, okay, or if you're a Trump person, when it comes down to it, I just wanted to get people's opinion. Like, would you vote for DeSantis? Do you like DeSantis? I mean, especially because you live in Florida. So you're going to have a real firsthand account of, like, he's your governor right now. You're obviously a fan of Trump. If they both run, like, who are you going for?
Right.
I mean, because I think that's the tricky thing. It's like, if DeSantis can get the reasonable people that want to win, I think that's literally all you have. I mean, there can be lots of other reasons too.
I mean, do you know? I don't know. And I'm like friends with like crazy conspiracy MAGA people. And even they are like, yeah, I'd vote for DeSantis.
Oh, so no, I know some people that are still all the way on the Trump train still, which, like I said, doesn't make sense to me, because I think that
I will never understand it.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Never understand.
Because I think that he's proved that he loses and loses and loses. And, I get that what sucks about all the I mean, it's just lying is what it is about the elections being stolen. There's no evidence at all that, I mean, the Trump team's lost 60 court cases or so with Trump appointed judges, some of them. There's no evidence that there was anything. I'm not saying there's no fraud ever. There is fraud in every election. There were people that went to jail during the last one in several states for doing things like stuffing ballot boxes in the primary specifically.
But that's not why he lost.
That's not why he lost.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence that any of it was, and there's never even been a name released of something, like, there's these people that say there were 55,000 mules that were doing all this stuff. They've not released not one name. They've not shown one video of someone putting ballots in 2 boxes. They've not shown, like, there's no evidence. There's none. It's all lies. I do feel bad for people that believed it, because, there were trustworthy people telling them that. It was legitimate news sources that were telling them that. It was the president of the United States telling them that. And in the past, we haven't had someone lie that brazenly about something. So I think most people were duped. I don't think it's that they're dumb. No. I think it's just that they were lied to over and over again by everyone they listened to. Because if you watched Fox News and you like Donald Trump and you name off all the other right-wing media stuff that just kind of went along with it in a way that, like, some of it was a little bit like, well, we're just asking questions.
Yeah, and I think, like, the mistrust of media, that didn't help. And
yeah, and the media did it themselves by, the first 2 years of Trump presidency, even before then, lying and lying and lying and lying about the Russia stuff. And, at every turn there was something that they lied about. And then, so when a truth comes out, no one believes it. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Right. So they certainly have the media has a lot to do with that. But so most people were lied to, but I just don't know how you can look at that and go, okay, even if you believe that. So then he tells people to not vote in Georgia, and we lose the Georgia Senate races. And then everyone he picked lost.
Oh, I know.
And also, I mean, the basic math of, like, okay, Trump, like, didn't get a lot of votes, and down ballot Republicans won more votes. So it's like, if you're going to rig an election, let's just say that happened. If you could rig an election, don't you think you'd rig it so you won the House and Senate too? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't just want the presidency. That doesn't help you if you don't have the Senate and the House. And so I just think most of it's crazy. And I feel bad for people that got duped. But I think there's probably 15% of the Republican, like, voting block that will never not vote for Trump, and they will always defend him. And I think you do risk losing those people in a general election.
See, I think that's why Haley and like they aren't going after Trump because they think that they need to like keep those Trump
Right, but you have to get the nomination to even be talking about the general
election. And I
election.
think that's what's smart about the DeSantis team is they're at least hitting back and they keep going. And I would hit this hard every time I talk. They keep talking about like COVID and how how DeSantis responded and how Trump responded. How and they're like putting Fauci with Trump and they're saying how like DeSantis would have fired. And I would hit that over and over and over again.
It's a weird thing there because really maybe the best thing Trump did as far as like I was shocked that it worked out. I mean, like the Operation Warp Speed stuff was pretty amazing in the sense that how fast they got vaccines out, but he can't take credit for that anymore because he's worried about the base not liking that.
All anti-vaxxers are MAGA people.
Right. Well, not all of them. I mean, Robert Kennedy Jr. is running for...
I knew you were going to say that.
So not all of them. But I mean...
I like him.
But I mean, the thing about that stuff is like, I'm absolutely against all the mandate stuff. I think that stuff was ridiculous. Again, another example of media and people lying about the efficacy of some of the stuff. But I was like, if you're over 60 and, in a high risk, it's like,
totally.
You should absolutely take the vaccine. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. Now me, I'm, not 60. I'm very low risk. Like, if I was 20, I'd probably be like, absolutely, I'm not going to, know. And, me and my wife got it just because we were visiting her grandparents who are 95, and we were like, if it protects them, like, great. If that's one
in the beginning, you thought that you wouldn't get it if you got the vaccine.
I mean, it's like you're less likely to have the symptomatic stuff still and stuff, but there's just not, but again, we were lied to. We were told that, you can't pass it. You'll never get it. Right. You can't get anyone. It's all that crap was not true. And none of it was stuff that the vaccine makers were claiming either. It was just the media just ran with some of that stuff. But Trump can't even claim credit for the one thing he did actually really well. And DeSantis did well too. I mean, they actually did a really good job, which is going to be interesting because he actually did a really good job of rolling that out when he's got a really old population in Florida. And they actually did a really good job at protecting older populations, which they have a gigantic older population, and he did a good job of rolling out vaccines to those older people for sure.
Yeah, and he did a bunch. I mean, he did so much with COVID that he was a leader in COVID. That's what DeSantis. Yeah. He makes bold decisions. He leads.
And I like that he doesn't care what. I like that he doesn't care. At the time, he was getting a lot of crap for that.
Yes,
by national media.
Opening Florida, keeping schools open, unmasking children, everything. Yeah. He was a leader.
Yeah, and it's funny because at the time it was like a Cuomo. You were kind of like Team Cuomo or Team DeSantis.
And have you seen Trump's recent tweet?
Is he defending him now too?
Oh,
he's defending
saying
Democrats.
Cuomo did better than DeSantis with COVID. Which it's like, that's insanity. Even Cuomo tweeted and said, like, thank you, Trump, for realizing that I did a better job. And I mean, insanity.
But that's the other thing. If you care about, well, I mean, this is silly to say because I know that 15% doesn't care about policy and they don't care about principles and they do not care about any of that stuff. They want the performative. I heard. Well, it was Jonah Goldberg. His book is back here.
Jonah.
You like Jonah? Okay, we can fight
He's
about
okay.
Jonah. But he said something about, he's like, they're not deplorable, but what they want is deplorable. They want to elect someone that, they want Trump. They don't care if Trump loses. They want him to go out there and make a scene. And he's like, that is, wanting that out of politics is deplorable. It doesn't mean you're deplorable, but like, they want it to be a mess.
Well, when Trump said, like, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and like, those are those people.
Yeah.
Like, he's right. They would still vote for him.
And they I mean, everything that comes out, it's like, it's like, dude, all this stuff, he's been shady for his whole life. And some of that is catching up with him now. And you can't, it's funny how his most ardent defenders, to me, seem to like that part of his personality. But then when something comes out, like him getting sued for the rape stuff and then, or the
paying
the
off
Mar-a-Lago the documents and stuff like that, like how he handled it, and then they it's like they go, well, that's not true, even though that you were saying that's what you liked about him 5 minutes ago, but now you're telling me that what he did. Though that didn't happen. That's not how that went down. It's like, well, okay, but a second ago you were like bragging, like that would be a good thing if he did it. But now that like he might be in legal trouble for it, it's like not. I don't know. It doesn't.
It's a cult following.
Yeah, but that does worry me. But I do think that DeSantis has the best shot of the rest of the field to get more of those people to vote in a general election than the other people do. But which is weird because to me, Nikki Haley has been kind of annoyingly not willing to go attack Trump. Like,
yeah, I don't know why. I've seen like I think a few things,
not much.
But not much.
She's attacking DeSantis more.
Yeah, and the Disney thing, which is like wrong.
Okay, what's your thought on the Disney stuff? I want to know.
I love it.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah, because and here's the thing. I don't think some people might understand it, but he's not taking away anything that. He's not like punishing them. He's taking away something that they shouldn't have ever had in the first place.
Yeah. I'm of two minds about it. I think that
a lot of people are.
I'm a little bit like I agree with the general initial kind of stuff. Like in the fact that like okay, if you're going to cuz like calling it a don't say gay bill was ridiculous. It didn't have anything about that in there. It wasn't that at all. And so to me they did I don't when you're not like let's just debate actual stuff and we like without throwing in lies about what things are and what they're not. I just think that that's kind of a ridiculous way to do stuff. So I think Disney made a fool. I think most of these corporations that get in these political fights are foolish. Because I think that it's not worth the pain that it, because it's like I don't really like most of the culture war kind of stuff because I think it's not really as important as a lot of the other stuff that we really need to focus on first. It's not that I am like shunning it or something. It's just that I don't think it matters as much as it's the thing that gets all the headlines, but it's not really the big problem. Like,
right.
I think there are way bigger issues. Like
you don't think we should boycott Target?
Target's a little different. Target and Bud Light feel a little bit different to me. Like, I don't mind someone having a different opinion about really any kind of policy stuff, which is really what Disney's boiled down to. So I don't like some of the stuff, and it's gotten shot down in court.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I don't like. I don't like when Republicans do stuff, or Democrats, but Republicans have done it more of late, where they're like, we're going to do this thing. It's probably illegal. It's going to get struck down in court, but it's a win for our base. Because it's just, and I think he did some of that stuff, and I don't like that part of it. And I also don't think, Disney's going to have better lawyers than the state of Florida, let's be honest. And so I think you're going to end up looking foolish the further it goes along. It's not that I have a huge problem with it. It's just that I think it'll bite him in the ass.
Yeah. Well, but I think it makes him look good to the far right, as in like he's fighting woke ideology, and people love that.
But I think there are better ways to do that than go against Disney.
Well, him sending migrants to Martha's
That's
Vineyard,
great.
Love that too.
In the sense that it was a little performative. I don't like being performative with human beings, but the Martha's Vineyard thing bothered me more than like busing them to Chicago, for example, or whatever that like Abbott did. Because what it's done is like those cities now are having these conversations like, we can't, this is overrunning us. And it's like, what do you think the border towns in Texas feel like? And so in a way, and the Martha's Vineyard thing was a little performative in the sense that like they don't have the infrastructure to do that stuff. I think I don't like to do that with, like I said, these are human beings. Sending them to Chicago is different, or New York or something, a city that has the resources and all this kind of stuff. And if it's people that are saying, I've got family in Chicago and that's where I want to go, then yeah, put them on a bus, send them to Chicago. And this, if the left wants to have, this, the way we were doing stuff, especially at the time with Title 42 stuff, if they want to have that, I think that everyone should be a part of that. It shouldn't be Texas's fault or Arizona's thing to deal with.
Yeah, these little towns can't handle it.
So that I don't mind as much because it is like big city that acts like you're the bleeding heart liberals. Well, but then you don't welcome these people in either because you realize it's actually a strain on the system. Which is what we're saying too in border states like Texas and Arizona and stuff. And Florida has a lot of it from Cuba and stuff. But so that doesn't bother me as much. The Disney thing bothers me because I think they are, first of all, it's a gigantic employer in your state.
Yeah.
Why mess with a huge part of your population's jobs? I don't think that's necessarily a great idea. It's also kind of funny coming from a conservative to be like, you know, I'm for less regulation in general. Like, so I don't mind the whole Reed Creek, whatever it's called, deal of like letting them run their thing. Cause it's like, until they do something that's not okay, like let them do their thing. They're more efficient than government is at it. But I just think it's a silly fight to pick. Cause I think it will bite them.
He is losing in the courts.
Yeah.
And so not great.
Same with the Stop Woke Act. Same with some of the school stuff. Some of those bills are losing in courts, and I think they're correctly losing in courts when you look at like the letter of the law of free speech and stuff. And so I don't like that stuff because I think it's performative, and I don't really like performative politics. I realize sometimes you've got to do that. I realize that's just part of, unfortunately, the way politics is. But to me, the busing stuff made more sense because it was like, look, this is a problem. I mean, it's a little funny for Florida to pretend they're a Mexico border state because they're not, you know, they're not Texas. They're not Arizona, New Mexico, and these states. They're actually dealing with that crisis. So I think that's a weak spot for him, but I also think you're right. I think it gets him points with a base that may only notice that and nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. I think it got his name out there as, hey, I will do like what I say I'm going to do them.
Yeah. And he's good at like when reporters are unfair in press conferences, he'll go after them with facts and stuff. I do like the way he handles in that. It's not warm though. I mean, that kind of goes back to my thing. It's not likable. I think people like it when he's on your side, but I think you have to win a bunch of people.
I think we need to see more of him out.
Oh, for sure.
It needs. Where is Tucker when we need
I'm not
him?
See, and I don't like Tucker, but we could do a whole. But Tucker for some of the same reason. I think a lot of it is performative, which I get it. He's an entertainer, really.
Yeah.
I just think that he could use his talent for more good than sometimes he does. Because I think he's a really smart guy.
Very smart.
And he's a great writer. Brilliant. And I think that I really like former versions of Tucker a lot more than what happened over the last couple of years. Because, like, you talk about the January 6th thing, he's, like, making excuses. Like, this is just a misunderstanding. I mean, that whole thing, I think, was, like, wrong. I think he knew it was wrong. I think anyone that lies on air and then says something else, I don't like that. That bothers me.
Yeah, I think Tucker knew who his audience was. And
absolutely
pandered to them probably a little bit.
But I think what bothers me is that, like, that audience, I think he has no matter what. And I think you have...
I will follow Tucker to the ends of this earth.
Right, but don't you think that if he would have... Do you really think that... Okay, he was getting 3 million to 5 something. I mean, he was the highest rated show on cable news. But his audience, like, is a fourth of what Joe Rogan's is every day.
I know.
So my point is, like, do you really think half his audience would have left if he would have told them that January 6th was not... If he would have said the things that he was saying in text... and emails to colleagues at Fox News, if he would have said that on air, don't you think we might have just gotten rid of Trump? I think Tucker has enough. Look, I said 3 million people is only 1% of the population. It's not that many people in the grand scheme of things.
He did say that Sidney Powell was insane on air.
Yeah, but he also had her on a bunch before that.
I know.
And I think that's the problem. Why even give that person a platform? And then why not just, if he would have come out and said, Trump lost, he's a loser, I think that most of those people would have stuck with him and he would have convinced 3 million people that Trump was a loser. I think he had that kind of sway because I think he's a great writer. He's very, like, I like his demeanor generally. I like that he's not some big yelling guy. Like, that's what when everyone else went, you know, to go from, like, the O'Reilly kind of thing, which I actually don't think O'Reilly was that out of bounds most of the time.
I loved O'Reilly.
I liked O'Reilly a lot. I mean, I think he had a very flawed human being, obviously,
yeah.
as are a lot of people at Fox News, including people that were running it. But I mean, I think he actually had a really good show.
Loved
and I think
the
he
show.
was pretty in the mid. I mean, I also don't love populism. That's also my other thing, which is Tucker kind of seemed to go all in on, and I feel like O'Reilly was a little bit.
We'll see. You know, he's going to Twitter now.
Yeah.
But I wish he would just do a podcast.
But a freaking Elon Musk, I mean, they couldn't get 400,000 people or whatever to watch an audio
They've got to
stream.
work on it.
Like, they don't have the technology right now to host a television show.
He should do a podcast like Rogan.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why anyone goes to any platform at this point other than just to, like...
Podcast.
Just, like, do it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
if you've got that audience already, why not just...
Yeah, like Megyn Kelly, that she left Fox and left NBC and does podcasts, and she does really well.
Yeah, I mean, like, most of these people are you can't get rid of someone at that point. If it's independent and they do it themselves.
DeSantis should go on Rogan. And maybe Rogan could open him up.
Ooh, I don't think he would ever. Do you think he would really go on something that's that Wild West?
He should.
Because Joe Rogan doesn't even have like the note card in front of him. He's just like, I mean, maybe he does. He's probably got someone in his ear or something like that. But it's very conversational. I mean, I like those kind of things. I like conversational podcasts.
He needs to go on a more I do agree. His personality, yes, needs to come out more. He was on Ben Shapiro the other day, and it was kind of like.
It just feels. I think people are tired of that, and I don't think it's fair to him necessarily because I think he is a good governor. But like I said, I disagree with some of the things, and most of it is the performative stuff that I think he knows is going to lose, but he doesn't care. He gets the points on the press release, and then they don't pay attention when it loses in court. That's the truth.
Yeah, no, totally true.
But it costs taxpayers a lot of money. It's silly. Like, so just don't do stuff like that if it's going to lose in court. And you know it's going to, because it's like, it's pretty easy to figure out like what works and what's constitutional and not. It doesn't take the Supreme Court of a state to figure that out most of the time. But I just wonder if that will ding him, because I feel like in this race so far, which we've already got kind of too many people. So let's talk DeSantis. Trump. I think Pence and Chris Christie are going to announce this week.
Yes.
You got Tim Scott, Asa Hutchinson, who no one knows who that is, but he's actually, I think he'd be great.
Asa, yeah.
He's great, but I mean, no one knows who he is.
No one does.
Did I say Nikki Haley yet? I don't think I did. So anyway, you've got like 8 or 9 people already in it, and authenticity wise, I think probably Trump and Tim Scott are the most like what you see is what you get.
Yeah, I really like Tim Scott.
I really do too, and I want that to be a benefit for him, like because I think people. My theory is that people want authentic politicians, and I think he clearly seems authentic. I think that you can't really find many people that have anything bad to say about him. I mean, they'll be like, I disagree with him, but he's a great guy, and I love him, and he's great. You know, I think that might win some people over, and I just wonder if. I wonder if the performative stuff, because it's not about money. Jeb Bush had more money than anyone in 2016. Didn't get him very far. You even look at people like Ted Cruz is kind of the ultimate example of someone that people just don't like or trust because they don't trust.
I love Ted Cruz.
You do?
I have a Ted Cruz bumper sticker on my car, Blake.
But do you trust anything? Oh, you're from Texas too, so that makes sense. But I mean, do you trust anything that comes out of his mouth?
Everything.
See, I just feel like he's always performing. I feel like he's a really smart guy that's always performing. Smart. But I'd rather him just quit trying to perform.
I like Ted Cruz. I don't know why people don't like Ted Cruz.
I think he's just really performative. I think and you can't, how can you swing from, I hate Trump to, I feel like some of that stuff it's.
Oh, and what he said about his wife. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I would never.
For the good of the party?
No, but like, you don't need to at that point. Like, what would have hurt? I mean, I guess I'm fine with.
I mean, he didn't switch it like that. I think it took him a while.
Yeah, I don't like that. I also don't like that he acts like he's always talking about the elite. I'm like, bro, you went to Harvard. You are in the Senate. You are the elite. Like, quit acting like. I hate people that pretend that they're against, like, oh, I'm for the little man. I don't like the elite people. I'm like, dude, you are you're a. What, 3-term senator at this point or something? You went to Harvard. Like, your wife is, I mean, like, like, you are the elite, and that's fine. Like, just own it. He would have
been a great president, though.
I don't know.
I think he would have.
I don't think he has a shot. I mean.
No, I don't. I think his time has come and gone, but.
Yeah, I also think he just, for as close as his elections are in Texas, I think a lot of Republicans don't like him either.
No, I know. So many people don't like him.
But don't you think it's because of the inauthenticity? I think it's because he's not authentic. I think if he's authentic and just embraced being the dork,
I think he's someone else.
He is.
I think
people would like him more.
He jokes about being the Zodiac. I think he's become more warm.
I know, but that's not normally what people see on Fox News and stuff, and in speeches and on the Senate floor and stuff like that. I think that you see that more with other people, and I think that's what turned. My theory is that. No one's going to say that in a poll. Oh, the reason he's not... Because likability is the only thing that people... I feel like I've never seen a poll that says, like, do you think they're lying to you? Or do you think they're being authentic? Or do you think they're... And I just think that you can't explain Bernie Sanders and Trump You can't explain independent voters trying to decide between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because you're clearly not looking at issues if that was the case. And I think that, there's a million other factors that went into that too. Trump got tons of media, like we talked about. Trump got tons of attention because people thought that it was just funny, and it turned into a thing. And, so there's lots of other reasons too, but there's really no reason that Bernie Sanders should have sniffed Hillary Clinton in the nomination, right? That's a 2-person race, essentially. There's like 2 other people that I can't remember who they were. It was the guy from Colorado, and I can't remember the other. Anyway, it's basically the 2 of them. But that should not have happened. Now, I think some of that's because Hillary Clinton is so unlikable. She's so on the other end. But that's my theory, is that, like, because she's so inauthentic, no one believes her ever,
No, what do you think about Robert F. Kennedy and Biden? I mean, because Biden's poll numbers are so bad. Like, wouldn't you think that someone would try and come up and contest him?
But, like, how do you... Okay.
At his age, his dementia.
I think it... I can't believe he's running. I can't believe
shame
his
on
wife's
his
letting
wife.
him and his
Shame
family.
on his wife.
I really...
Money hungry, power hungry.
I don't think that's what it is. I think you just
Blake, what else could it be?
I really think that he gets... I think the problem is that there's a little bit of narcissism that goes into anyone that runs for president.
Totally.
You have to be a little bit of an ego. You have to be a little bit of narcissist.
Agree.
Most people don't give up that job. I think Biden...
Blake, I don't even think he knows he has the job. I
think
don't,
he does.
Blake.
I think he does.
Sometimes.
But I think he thinks, and I don't think he's right about this, I think he thinks he's the only person that can do it.
Blake.
He's not completely wrong in some sense of like, who do you, okay, let's just say, okay, I'm not hoping this happens. If Biden dropped dead tomorrow, who would they put up to be the Democratic nominee? It's not Kamala. I don't think it's Newsom. I don't think...
Oh, he's like itching to run.
I know, but do you really think he could... I think the slick hair politician from California, I think that Democrats are smart enough to realize, like, that's probably not going to fly in general. Especially talk about COVID response. He almost got recalled.
Good. Blake, they think he did a great job.
I mean, he almost got recalled.
I'm trying to think.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I think he's the closest thing they have to it.
That's why, I can't think of anyone else. Oh, I know who it would be. Pete.
No!
Blake. Who else, Blake?
Pete is a great example of Beto O'Rourke.
Agree.
It's an empty suit. He's a smart guy. He's not even doing his job well right now. He's
an incompetent
transportation secretary.
Idiot.
We've had more transportation snafus under him than other people.
Blake, and he'll run in 8 years.
Maybe, but like
1,000%.
But he is not. I think Democrats want him to be the future of the party.
Yeah.
But they are foolish to put their money on him. He's not a good politician. He was the mayor of a small town in Indiana. It's not. That's more experience than Trump had, to be fair. But I don't think it prepares you for the job.
Well, then maybe it will be like a businessman type.
So that's my point, is that Biden is not wrong to think that he might be the only person that can win in 2024 when, I mean, I think everyone knows Kamala is not going to be the nominee. If Biden died tomorrow, Kamala's not going to... I think Michelle is but I don't think she wants that job.
No, I don't either.
She didn't...
Why would you?
Everyone wants out of there after 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you want that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And just because you're the wife of the president doesn't make you good. If there's all sorts of things that my wife's great at that I did not inherit through osmosis.
I know, but people
her ability to cook, or she is not my ability to do.
People love the Obamas.
They do, yeah. But I don't think that just because one of them is a super talented politician that the other one would be. I think that we've proven that with Bill and Hillary Clinton. It's not a transferable thing that you can do, because Bill Clinton was a very good politician, like as far as like knowing how to be a politician and seeing, oh, well, people like this, I should probably do that, and knowing when you need to go against your party sometimes to win re-election and stuff. And Hillary just doesn't have that. She does not have that kind of thing.
No.
So I don't know that the Democrats have someone that's really obviously waiting in the wings. I think that was the hope, that there would be someone that would come up. I think he could have picked a better VP to be that person.
For sure.
I think he should have picked, what's her name from Minnesota? Klobuchar. I think that would have been a better...
Yeah. Oh, anyone would be better.
I think it also would have won him handily, without any problem the 2020 election. People don't like Kamala.
No.
And when you're that old and that person, like, who cares about the vice president, honestly, most of the time?
Okay, so, Blake, do you think if Trump, God forbid...
If he gets the nomination?
First off, I will go into such a deep depression. I've said this before, I will get off Twitter and get off politics.
If those are our if those are our nominees in 2024, we deserve whatever crap we get because we are idiots if those are our two nominees again.
Let's say it is. Do you think Trump has a chance?
Well, I think that there's always a chance because, honestly, the at this point, it would be anything could happen. Biden could fall and be in the hospital. This is not, Mitch McConnell fell and was in the hospital for like a couple weeks.
Gosh, I know.
You know what I mean? And he, for the most part, is a very, I don't distrust his mental capability at all.
Very sharp.
Even though he's also in his 80s. But Biden he could get out there and say, the spiders. I don't know. I mean, he could be on a debate stage and do that. I don't.
Another bike fall.
Something crazy could happen. He could die. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy things that happen. We could have a serious, God forbid, an attack or something could go wrong on this world politics, things like that. There's all sorts of things that could happen, but it would have to be something crazy for Trump to win. But I'm not saying something crazy couldn't win because who has Trump added to his coalition? No one. No one is. He's just losing people.
Oh, every day.
Because he won in 2016. He basically picked the lock of the Electoral College and did win legitimately. Even though I'd like everyone to remember that Democrats were claiming he stole that election too. So it's another thing. How do you get mad at someone for claiming the election was stolen when you did the same thing in 2016?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he did it in 2016, but he lost most demographics.
Yeah.
In 2020.
And the states that we would need to win, he can't win. That's
can't
the problem. And I know, I see polls where, because my husband said, well, isn't Trump leading Biden? And I'm like, not in the states that matter. He cannot win in the states that matter to get the presidency.
And he's not, for the most part, even in just a general, I asked someone in a poll, he doesn't, he's not even head to head in most of them. So, but I think all of that boils down to, no, I don't think he can win unless something crazy happens because I think mostly it's people like you. I think it's suburban moms have left him. They're just
Blake,
women.
If he's the nominee, I will get back on the Trump train.
See, but I don't. But
I couldn't help myself but to.
Though. I can't. I just
cannot vote.
I
know a lot of people can't. I don't think my parents could. But
I can't do it.
But man, so you'd rather have 4 more years of Biden?
I can't vote for either one of them. I don't believe that I have to pick that binary choice at that point. It's just so bad. I mean, I think
it would be so bad. It would be so depressing. I can't even think about it. I would truly fall into a deep depression, and I would give up politics as my hobby.
I wouldn't give it up, but it does make me what would happen? Because I don't think Biden can. I think he already can't do the job very well, and then I don't think Trump cares about doing the job well.
No, I don't even think he wants to become president.
I think he does, but I don't think he doesn't have a policy. He doesn't have. His only position is, I'll be your retribution, which is not really a position. He wants us to be his retribution. Is really what he's saying.
I think he just wants to prove that he can win again and become president.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be a loser. But to me, that's the thing. That's why you go after him for that. Is because it's his sore spot. He has a fragile ego, even though it's a gigantic ego. He hates when anything's not about him, and he doesn't want to lose. That's why he can't. I mean, I think that he was lying originally, and I think he's kind of bought his own crap in a way. So no, I don't think he could win, and I think we'd be foolish to nominate him. I wish more states didn't change their rules to make it easier for him to win the nomination. I wish more states did delegates not winner take all.
Yeah,
because I think that's kind of a thing of the past anyway, in the sense that it's not like it was 50 years ago when 50 years is bad, probably example. Well, yeah, I guess about 50 years ago. It's not like, oh gosh, we can't have this go on too long or else, we're not going to have money or funds to go into the general election. I don't think money is as big of a deal. You have to have money to run for president, but you don't have to have the most money to win. I mean, Everyone that's had the most money in every race for the last 15 years has not won the nomination. and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the general either. So everyone knows you're going to be against Biden. Most people in the primaries are already running against Biden right now, which is silly because to me it's like, well, why don't you differentiate yourselves amongst each other? Say how you disagree with each other. We know you don't like Biden, and you're talking to the Republican voters. They don't like Biden either. So stop talking about the left and stuff like that. Just tell me what's different between you and the guy that's in front of you. But I don't know that Trump can. He has no positions. He's not going to gain anyone. Like, there's no way he gets more, but he could still win states because all you need is like, if 6 other people in the race, all you need is like 30% of the vote.
I know, it really scares me. That's why, like, when there becomes like, they've got to drop out and get behind.
I think
DeSantis.
there is going to be enough pressure internally. I think Republican senators, Republican congressmen, Republican governors, all of them don't want Trump either. Even if in public they're saying they do.
Graham is still on Trump.
Yeah, but
what is he doing?
He's also one of these people like. It's the
I
same thing with him.
I love Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and I think that he knows that he doesn't really want Trump, but he's pretending because there's no downside for him to be on the Trump train. Because, like, let's say DeSantis is the nominee, okay? Or Nikki Haley, or Tim Scott, or anyone. No one's going to be, like, vindictive the way Trump will be about someone that didn't back him. Like, Tim Scott's not going to care if Lindsey Graham said, oh, I'm for Trump, and then he's going to cozy up to Tim Scott if he's the nominee. And he's not going to care because he's going to be like, I get it, it's politics.
Does he have no morals? Does he have no scruples?
Here's the only excuse that I'll give people that are actually senators and congresspeople is that I think the bet that they're making is like, look, if I say I'm for Trump, like I said, Tim Scott's not going to be mad, or Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. No one's going to be vindictive about it. No one's going to try to torpedo me
so what
or
are the
my
advantages?
legislation. That Trump's not attacking you.
Oh, gosh.
That's it. Which, to be fair, I get that if you're like trying to pass a piece of legislation that you care about and you can't deal with that crap. I wouldn't do it myself. I would just stay out of it. To me, that's fine. You could just be like, that I'll forgive. I think some people do that pretty well. Just going like, I'm not going to comment on everything Trump says because I'd never be not commenting on something Trump said. You know, I think that's a fine position to take. I think it's actually the smart position to take.
Yeah, and DeSantis had that for a while.
But yeah, the people that are defending him and like endorsing him right now,
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think that it's mostly, you know, you're not going to get heavy hitters that are doing that for the most part. It's Lindsey Graham's probably the biggest
I don't
name.
get it.
I don't get it either. I think it's a bad idea, but I understand. You know, sometimes you do dumb stuff like that in politics. It bothers me that politics like that, but we're the only people that can make that change. You know, we're the only people that can be like, look, if you do that kind of crap, you're out of here. But people don't.
You know, I think this is going to be the big defining moment. I think a debate.
Yep.
Trump and DeSantis.
But Trump is saying he's not going to come to the debate.
He's got to. I mean, he's got to.
What do you think if Trump doesn't go to the debate, and let's say he goes on Tucker's Twitter debate instead? You know, let's just say that. So I don't think this is like out of the realm of possibilities. You know, that, you know,
no, I don't either.
People do something like that. What do all the other nominees do? Do they go to the one with Trump or the one on Fox News that doesn't have Trump?
They got to go on both.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they would probably, if Trump's vindictive, he's going to do it on the same night. He's going to do it at the same time, the same night, so you can't watch both.
You got to go to Trump's then.
Right. So, like, okay. But, I mean, at that point, then you get what you want. Trump's debating people. I think he doesn't want to debate because I think he knows he can't.
Same.
Trump has a record now. He didn't have a record in 2016.
Exactly.
He did in 2020.
COVID, Fauci, like the wall, all of it.
All the stuff he didn't do that he claims he did, all the stuff that I feel like you could go, okay, you didn't fix immigration. You had 2 years of a Republican-controlled House and Senate, and you got...
to do anything you want.
You got one tax thing. That's it. And I'm not saying that was bad. I was fine with that. But that's all you got out of the first 2 years. And he doesn't have a good excuse for why you didn't get anything done for those 2 years.
And they should bringing up the election, he's got to debate. DeSantis has got to do well in that. He has the time to
I think DeSantis would do well in that debate for sure.
I don't know, man.
I think he would.
I mean, I think on policy-wise, yeah. But I want to see him. I want to see DeSantis. This is what I want to see. I want to see rallies.
Yeah.
Big rallies. Like Trump-like big rallies with DeSantis.
I think he can do that.
And I want to see him more. I want to see his beautiful face more hot. And he's
I don't know. He seems like a normal looking guy to me, but
he's like a movie star, handsome guy.
You think so? Okay.
Have you seen his wife? She looks like Jackie
She's very pretty.
She's beautiful. I want to see his face more on TV.
Okay.
Like going on and like go on CNN.
Yeah.
Like go on.
He should. That's foolish for him to not do that.
Yeah, like because they'd make great clips of him like clapping back.
You can fight with those people.
Yes.
Like call them out on their station, but like it's foolish to be like, I'm not going to go on any mainstream media. Hey, guess what? People watch it. Not like to the. I mean, it's like, look, these people, they're small. I mean, most people don't watch that much news and don't pay that close attention to this stuff. But there are people that do. And you got to get in front of those people because there are a bunch of people. It's like 70% of people polled think that Biden is not fit to be president. And about that number also don't think Trump is like not fit to be president. Okay, that's a huge chunk of the country that doesn't want either one of those guys. And so if either one of them are the nominee, which I mean, obviously will be Biden unless something crazy happens, although it's,
Blake thinks Biden's going to die.
I think he could. I also think he could just fall. He could. There's all sorts of other things that don't involve death.
It'll be like Weekend at Bernie's if he does, Blake. It won't matter.
I think it will matter. You can't hide. You can't even hide Blake, what he's doing now.
Look at him now.
I know, but he in 2020 he got to campaign from a basement.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't get to do that this time. It's not going to go well. He's going to look bad. He's going to have to go out there and talk to people. He's going to have to do speeches, and it's going to get bad. He's going to have to take questions from the press. Trump, something I'll give him credit for, he talked to the press all the time because he's an egomaniac, and he shouldn't have as much as he did. But he did. He was out there answering questions, and I don't like the way he answered a lot of them. I don't like people attacking the press, for just being the press. I think that's wrong. I think the press's job is supposed to be to keep people accountable. I agree that they don't do as good of a job of it towards
Enemy
Democrats.
of the people.
So, you think so? I mean,
my gosh,
I think the way they've been doing their jobs, it is, but they shouldn't be. They're supposed to be the people that keep them accountable. The problem is that they only do that to Republicans and not Democrats.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's a problem. But you go back to Obama, and when Obama tried to freeze out Fox News from stuff, when his White House tried to do that, all the other press was like, absolutely not. You're not going to do that. That's ridiculous. Just because you don't like them, you don't like that they're asking hard questions, they're the freaking press, and we got the First Amendment for a reason. And, then Trump tried to do the same thing to CNN, and they did the same thing. They're like, no. The Fox News people are like, no. That's ridiculous. I don't think they've done a good job. I don't think that they have behaved well for the last 20 years for sure. It's been really, really bad. There's been a lot of malpractice, basically. But I don't want the press to go away. I don't think we gain anything if the White House, the way the White House press secretary runs stuff now is wrong. And it's been like that for at least 2 administrations in a row. I don't think either one of them were great at it, but it's ridiculous. Biden's going to have to get in front of people. He can't not when you're running for president again. He can't do it from his basement at the White House. I assume they have a basement.
No.
But so I think that he's going to have lots of opportunities to look foolish and old and stuff. And I think that Kamala Harris does not make anyone feel better about that.
No.
Because she's not.
No.
She's not senile and can't put together a great sentence either.
No, she can't.
And I think she's just generally unlikable. I think that her staff
she's
turnover.
She's someone who doesn't seem genuine.
No, not at all. She seems very fake. And I think that's what people don't like about politicians. I think
Daddy DeSantis is going to work
right, but just go out there and be the grumpy guy. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, so what did I say he needed to do? I said he needed
Daddy DeSantis. You're going to buy the website first.
Okay, I'm going to buy the website.
You better do it before this comes out.
No, I'm going
to.
I'm
going to do it when I get home. You can afford it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. Okay. He needs to do big rallies.
Yep.
He needs to get his beautiful face on TV more. On opposing, CNN. Go on
Is this MSNBC. A popular opinion among women that he's attractive?
You've not heard the term Daddy DeSantis?
I have
Why
not.
do you think people call him Daddy DeSantis?
Well, I thought it was just more of a,
No,
he's the boss kind of thing.
No, he's good looking.
Okay, he's good looking. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, he's good looking.
He looks like an average politician to me, but I'm a guy, so what do I know?
I think he's above average.
Ramaswamy is a better looking guy than him, in my opinion. Am I totally wrong about this?
He's good looking.
Okay, I don't know.
And he has a...
Tim Scott has a better smile than DeSantis. I feel like he's a handsomer
Scott,
guy.
I think Tim Scott's a handsome guy too.
I would love if Tim Scott like rocketed up this thing. Like, that would be great. I think he's genuine. Him. I think but I don't think there's much of a chance of that happening.
No, I don't either. But I do love Tim Scott. Yeah. DeSantis Scott. I think that'd be a great ticket. Okay.
I think it could be.
Rallies, getting his face on. And then the third thing is that he does need to, this is what he needs to do. When Tucker comes back.
Okay.
Tucker does his like first big interview with DeSantis. Long form conversation at like Tucker's main farm. And like we get to see more of his personality.
Tucker may not be he's fighting to get out of his contract, but his contract doesn't until next year.
Blake, he will get out of his contract. Trust me.
How?
Because Fox News has like done things that are against the contract that he had with him, and so like he'll get out of it.
I just know that that's a bunch of lawyer crap that he's gonna have to fight for a long time. Like Conan O'Brien didn't manage to do it when you know what I mean?
I think Tucker comes out soon.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about the minutia of those legal details, but
because he's saying that he was like fired for, like it wasn't just.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that there's cause that we haven't seen.
I don't think so, Blake.
I think it's the sexual harassment, not
No, Blake.
The abusive workplace kind of stuff. I think is going to be able to be cause for, because it doesn't sound like the January 6th stuff was the reason.
Oh, I think it like had to do with like Dominion, like.
Well, but why wouldn't you fire? What's her name?
Laura Ingraham.
No. Baratama or whatever her name.
Maria Baratama.
Because she was really doing that stuff a lot, and they did fire Lou Dobbs immediately. So why would you fire the person that makes you the most money unless there was like a lot of? I think it's because he thought he was bigger than Fox News, and I think he had enough that was part of it. Stuff.
But I don't think it was because of sexual harassment stuff. Because he wasn't even in that.
Well, it wasn't sexual harassment. I think it was like abusive workplace stuff, and it wasn't like sexual harassment. It was like inappropriate. There's a producer that that Fox is getting sued by.
Yeah.
Because of, and it was specifically naming Tucker and a producer.
That
Tucker they already fired the producer.
Never even met her.
Well, how do you not met her? She was a producer on a show, wasn't she?
Because she worked in like the New York style. He was always in a studio in Maine.
Okay, I don't know enough about this, but we can have a whole Tucker discussion sometime after I research it.
I would love to. I will defend Tucker to the ends of the earth.
Okay, so we have DeSantis' game plan though, right?
Yeah.
You got to be authentic is my pointer.
Okay, be authentic.
Big rallies. I think that's just built in though, right?
Where's his big rallies?
Well, I mean, he didn't announce for president until last week.
He needs to do a big rally soon.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Do a tour.
I'm sure he will.
I'm buying tickets.
No one's doing a I announced rally.
No. Okay.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that makes sense. I don't think it's because he's like averse to rallies. I mean, to me, that's
but him not doing a big rally to announce.
I agree. It was foolish. You won by 19 points 6 months ago. Why would you not just do a thing in Florida? I mean, do it in front of, I don't know, the governor's mansion. I mean, like, there just seems like a lot of really easy knock the ball out of the park stuff. But whatever, that's hindsight. I don't think the Twitter thing will hurt him really at all. It's mostly people like us that even know about it. But I think that he's got to work on I think the authenticity is going to matter because, and as long as he can hit back at Trump without being prepped, I think that's the other thing he's got to be able to do. Because the second that gets into a live debate situation, I just think Trump's not very good at debates. I think people think he is okay, but like he was coached against Biden to just shut up. Yeah. They were like, literally, all you have to do is let Biden talk and you will win the debate. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
and so
bad.
To me, and he's not great at like, that CNN thing was a nightmare. Like he can't put together a coherent thought either. It's different than Biden stuff. Biden seems more old Trump just seems like he's not good at, he can't make a point because he doesn't have a point.
Yeah.
It's just kind of likes hearing his own voice.
Narcissism.
It's narcissism. But, I don't think he can get on a debate stage with someone that I think DeSantis can get up there well prepared and mop the floor with them.
Totally.
But will they be on a debate stage together? I don't know because I think Trump's actually scared. He's actually on defense for the first time ever. Because really everything that people try to throw at him before now, I think just didn't stick. And I think DeSantis is now hitting some nerves with him, or he wouldn't be defending Andrew Cuomo. I mean, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
And there's not a Republican voter that thinks that's right? There's no one.
But people will defend him for it. I know. It is crazy. It is insane.
I need to have one of these people on
No,
this.
you do, Blake.
But because I just need to understand.
Get inside their psyche.
But I don't think I can.
Why?
I just don't. I mean, I'm saying I don't think it I don't think it's. I think they're just stubborn. I think at this point, and so there's no changing their minds, even if they know they're wrong. So no one's ever going to come on here and explain it in a way that's going to make sense to me. Like I said, I think people can explain why you voted for him in 2016 and 2020. I think perfectly reasonably people could say, I was given a binary choice, and it was Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And I think reasonable people can make that decision. No problem. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't do it. That's fine. I'm not everyone. That's fine. But in 2024, you're going to have the chance to pick from a field of people that
great candidates
have the same opinions about all the things that you claim to care about. If you, whatever it is, if it's immigration or the deep state or whatever, bureaucracy, things like that. If whatever the things that you think Trump cares about, there's nothing that any of the other candidates really disagree with him on previous policy stuff. He's not really talking about policy stuff. So I don't know how why would you say, if it's not Trump, I'm not going to vote for one of these other people? Like, that doesn't, do you want Biden to be the president again? I
think they don't. I think at that point they're lost.
Do you think these people just didn't care before and they don't really care now?
Yeah.
It was just they liked Trump and that was it. But is that really 25% of the Republican base? I feel like we've got real problems as a party. If that's, we do have real problems.
We'll see.
That's why this is called the homeless conservative.
Maybe they will switch to DeSantis.
I think most of them will, because I think it's going to come down, if DeSantis was the nominee, it's going to come down to a binary choice again.
But because Trump, though, will never endorse DeSantis.
Never. He'll never endorse anyone else.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone that's running in a thing that he could have had, he will never. He can't. He's not even very nice to the people that he endorses for Senate and stuff.
Oh, I know.
He basically picked all those people and then gave them no money in their general elections.
I know. Oh, he just tweeted about Kayleigh McEntyre. He's horrible.
I agree, but I think convincing people of that is kind of a losing battle at this point. So it's I don't
know. I know I'm online and on Twitter, but I see I see people who slowly are I'm out.
But why? So you think it's just the name ID is the reason he polls so well? I don't know. Polling doesn't. I don't think polling is important at this point.
That's my only guess is name ID.
Okay. I think you're probably right. I just wonder if enough normal people will come out during the Republican primaries and vote for a normal candidate.
I pray.
And really, a normal candidate is all of the rest of them. It's really the whole field. So far, there's no one that I'm I absolutely would never vote for that person.
Yeah.
I disagree with a lot of policy and stuff like that, but I think most of them are okay, Chris Christie's the Jersey guy, and he's got a certain policy and personality kind of thing. Nikki Haley's a different thing. I think Nikki Haley's actually one of the better, I like a governor better than a senator generally, because I think that they have that experience of running a state, and that translates better to being president.
Bush, Reagan.
Yeah. And then, two Bushes. Well, sorry. Yeah. And then Bush vice president before he's president, and then governor. So, both those things have some executive, I learned a little bit about this in a smaller environment. And then, and Florida's a big freaking state too. This is not the governor of Arkansas or something, but senators have some of the foreign policy stuff. So it's not like I'm anti-senator. I just think that they're not as prepared on day one as governors are. But so there's not really anyone else in the field that I'd be I like Asa Hutchinson. No one knows him. He's actually a great conservative.
I like Asa.
Governor. I think he's great. And I think Pence is probably the one that's the most I think he has no shot. And I think he's kind of just.
I feel bad for him.
I do too, but I also. I don't. It's not like anyone forced him to go be Trump's VP and kind of go along with that whole thing for as long as he did.
He did it for the love of his country, Blake.
I know, but it'd be hard to sign up for the VP job specifically. It's one thing to be all those cabinet people and stuff that, that's generally a thing that rotates. But the VP is a pretty thankless job anyway. Really no one does that. The only VP that we've had that had any kind of sway at all in administration is Dick Cheney.
Yeah. In
my lifetime. There's not been, Al Gore, no. Give me a break. He didn't do anything in the Clinton administration other than go on the press stuff that they didn't want. And Kamala's doing the same thing now. Pence was basically, what's the saying? Was it Johnson that said, as useless as a warm bucket of spit? It's kind of true. Like, who wants that job?
No one.
Which is why I don't believe that any of these people that are running are like running to be Trump's VP or something. That seems...
No.
Yeah.
Oh, he might pick Carrie Lake.
He probably would. No, I mean, he's going to pick someone crazy like that. He has to. He has to pick someone that is...
Please do, to make him look like...
That's a bad move, too, because it doesn't... Well, I mean, I really, really hope he doesn't get the nomination. But I think normal people have to come out and pay attention to this year. You can't just sit out the primaries.
And DeSantis has to have a really, like, good, smart team that's, like, down on the ground.
And I know nothing about the teams that these people do. I mean, I can tell when they make dumb mistakes. Like, I think the Twitter thing was a mistake. And I think that hopefully they learned that maybe we don't need to focus as much on the like super online crowd. That didn't go as well. Or we at least need to control the environment better than we could in that situation. And the fact that there was no video, that's just... I could not. Same thing. I thought for sure it was going to be video.
Yeah,
audio only.
I know.
Like, audio is a great format. I love audio, but it's a specific thing. Like, and you can't run clips of it the next day on all the media.
I know.
You're not going to run the audio clips. No one's going to watch that on the news.
It was horrible.
It's such a bad idea. So I hope he recovers from that.
Me too.
I think I've heard, just the political junkies I listen to, say that Tim Scott does have some really like heavy hitter people on his team, like some really serious, like. So I mean, I think it's good that people aren't going to do that unless they're taking it seriously, and I hope people are. I hope they're not just like doing it to. It's a really bad election to get out there to try to like sell more books or to get on TV more,
right?
Or to make a name for yourself.
I don't think Scott or Haley.
I think Ramaswamy's the only one that's doing that that I see right now. Like, he's clearly just like I don't like these tech gurus that think because I'm good at one thing, I'm good at everything. He's a likable guy, and I think he has some stuff, but like, he's not. I don't want another inexperienced person in that job. And I think he is just running for... No one knew his name. Most people still don't know his name, but more people will know his name by the end of this than did before, and that's all he cares about, I think. But everyone else, I think, is really in it. They're not acting like it, because you got to go after Trump. Just because he's the leader. If he wasn't the leader, then fine. You don't have to talk about him. I'm fine with that. But if he's leading the polls, you kind of have to. You
got to hit him.
All right, well, we'll see what happens... as DeSantis gets rolling.
I can't wait.
Daddy DeSantis 2024.
Daddy DeSantis 20. I am going to buy it.
You got to buy it.
Yeah, I will.
You got to throw up a quick website.
Blake, we'll do a bet.
Okay, what are we going to bet?
Oh my gosh, I need to think about it. You know, I lost $1,000 when Trump lost. $1,000. And I'm a cheap person.
I could have told you that was going to happen.
No, but pre-COVID.
Oh, well, that shouldn't count.
Dude, that's a long story. I don't want to talk about it on the podcast.
Okay, that's fine. We'll make a bet at a later date. You come up with the bet. It's probably gonna be $1,000.
No, we'll do like a dinner or something like that.
Yeah, something. I'll cook you a steak dinner or something.
Good Lord. Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Blake.
Appreciate it.
Bye.